we've created a void. We've created a void because we don't know where our psyche begins and where civilization ends. You understand? We're told that we're basically robots. We have people like Richard Dawkins going around saying we're a robot. You know, and I always found it interesting, if I was going to play psychoanalysis, and I don't like, I try to avoid, you know, armchair psychoanalysis, but if you read his books like, you know, The Selfish Gene, he always compares genes to gangster mafiosos who wipe each other out. You know, they're always like criminal analogies, that kind of thing, like there's coldness to it. But he just said we're robots, we're just flesh, blood and bone, and we lack reason. You know, we lack reason if we think there's more to us than just being a robot, and our purpose is just to pass our genes on. And that's very interesting because I did a talk in Birmingham the other night, and this is a very kind of interesting thing, where there was a lad there, and 2 years ago he was the skeptic that comes to the group, but I get the impression he gets there and he says, you're wrong, that kind of thing. But 2 years ago, and he didn't give me a hard time, but he was trying to, I disagree with this. Now, that's okay. I like when people come up and disagree with me because it keeps me grounded. But I've seen the other night he came in there and he was a completely different guy. He was still a skeptic, but he was much more polite. And he told me that he had apologized to other people there for being such a dick about these things, you know, and he actually literally said it's because, you know, people like Richard Dawkins had fed the skeptics movement with people who were like crusaders and evangelists who were very intolerant. And you know, I couldn't believe he admitted that. That showed that his conscience had shifted. And why had it shifted? And this is going to make you laugh. You're going to see this now, you're probably going mad. But because he was in a room with people who were very open-minded, his mirror neurons started to lock with theirs. And what happened was mirror neurons create empathy. So he went into this bunch of people every week to say, I'm a man of reason. But what was happening was his own beloved neuroscience, hard science, his motor neurons, mirror neurons in his brain was starting, because he was going every week, and I haven't told him this, but you'll probably see it. Sorry, man. But it was starting to sync with the people around him who believed in conspiracies or UFOs or whatever their whole thing might have been. But he started to lock with them unknowingly, and so they actually changed him rather than him changing them, just by power of numbers. And that could have been the other way around. But I thought that was just such a beautiful thing in many ways, because it actually proved everyone was right. It proved he was right, and it proved the other people were right. The open-minded people and the sort of like the New Age people were right. It proved everyone was right, and that proves that no one is right and no one is wrong. And ultimately, beyond something like brain trauma through damage and so on, there's really no such thing as insanity. There's only a narrowing or a widening perceptions, and the problem is that tunnel is created by culture and education. And if we took away that culture or expanded that understanding of what a human being is supposed to be in the West, we'd find out a lot more people who wouldn't be insane. So thanks very much for that.
Beautiful.